You've probably heard of James Hardie. They're one of the most notorious companies in Australia, considered the ugly poster child of the fight against asbestos. But James Hardie is not the only company to have used asbestos, so why do we often hear about them? To answer that question, let's rewind to the 1920s, when medical experts first identified the dangers of asbestos exposure and the link to lung cancer.
Asbestos. Actually stone, it is made up of tiny but extremely strong and flexible fibers.
James Hardie, which had been in operation since the 1880s, used asbestos in the production of things like fibro sheets, insulation and brake linings, as well as engaging in the mining of the mineral itself. Evidence presented at an inquiry known as the Jackson Inquiry in 2004 suggested that James Hardie had known of these dangers to some extent from as early as the 1930s. Despite knowing the risks involved, James Hardie did not so much as place warnings on their products until the 1970s. Worse yet, they carried on with the use of asbestos in the manufacture of their products until the 1980s. Let's fast forward a little now. It's 2001. By this point, an alarming number, thousands of workers, have become ill or passed away. In the same year, James Hardie responds by seeking to separate itself from any of their subsidiaries that had asbestos liabilities. The problem? The net value of this subsidiary, around $293 million, was not nearly enough to compensate the thousands of impacted workers. The James Hardie parent company, in its attempts to escape growing accountability, moves the bulk of its operations to the Netherlands, leaving no more than a shell company behind. And in 2003, the fund ran dry. Enter former James Hardie workers, the union movement, and Bernard Douglas Banton. Bernard became the face of the fight against James Hardie and the use of asbestos. Employed by the company between 1964 and 1978, Bernie developed asbestosis, asbestos-related pleural disease, and mesothelioma as a result of exposure. But Bernie won't be remembered by Australians for his illness. Bernie will be remembered for his fierce and passionate campaigning for justice, his decency and kindness, and as an icon and legend for working people. Alongside Bernie and the union movement, tens of thousands of Australians rallied for James Hardie to pay. After years of fighting for justice, James Hardie agreed to an unprecedented compensation deal for its former employees. It would change working Australia forever. A company that was so big, powerful, and cashed up was made to take responsibility for the unfathomable pain they'd caused to thousands of Australian families. So, where to now? The battle to ban all asbestos products globally is ongoing. Exposure on work sites still occurs, and even those not working with the substance can be exposed, as products containing it can still be found in buildings and homes built before the 1980s. There are also other lung diseases caused by exposure to dangerous substances at work, like silicosis, caused by a substance called silica. None of these wins are possible without the union movement, but the union movement is not possible without you, working people, people with a desire for justice and equity, people like Bernie.
I just want to express the gratitude in my heart for all the unions and their tremendous support through the fight against James Hardie. Without their support, we would not be standing here today with victory at hand.